Oh, no. In this case, the terrible news is nothing to be excited about. My father accepted a job as a lifeguard on the SS Fun Times party cruise. And since I cannot legally separate from them, I must move with my suntanned family.
I'm sorry, Bertrand.
Well, it's October again. Time for some spooky videos. And there's nothing more spooky than the Loud House's resident goth, Lucy, a 9-year-old girl with a pet bat named Fangs, a deadpan voice, and bulletproof bangs. Today we'll be looking at a Lucy-centric episode. Well, an episode that's half Lucy-centric and the other half being a Lenny story that's even scarier because it's about working in retail. Ooh. These shorts, A Grave Mistake and Leader of the Rack, make up episode 14 of the Loud House's 4th season, the 146th episode overall, originally airing on Nickelodeon on September 2nd, 2019. A Grave Mistake was written by regular staff writer Whitney Weta, the only person to write episodes in every season of the show, and was directed by Darren McGowan, whose storyboard work goes all the way back to the Wild Thornberrys, Rocket Power, and As Told by Ginger. At the local cemetery, the Morticians Club, a get-together of all the local goths, hold their weekly meeting. It's revealed that the club president, Bertrand, will be stepping down as his family is moving out of town. This leaves the matter of who should be the next club president, and Lucy assumes it'll be her. I mean, come on, she's the gloomiest of the gloom, the creepiest of the creeps. So when Bertrand instead declares another girl, Haiku, as club president, Lucy is upset in a very gatekeeper-y way.
It's not right that Bertrand picked Haiku to be president over me. She just turned goth last year.
Yeah, and you've been planning funerals since you were 2. It is unfair.
Exactly. Thank you.
After Lucy gives an impassioned plea, the club decides to instead hold an election, pitting Lucy and Haiku against each other, and Lucy soon realizes she doesn't have the numbers on her side. She'll have to do a bit of voter fraud by getting her brother, Lincoln, to pose as a goth, join the club, and vote for her.
Is this the Morticians Club?
Lincoln? What in Hades' handbag are you doing here?
Oh, well, I was hoping to join you guys. I've really taken an interest in death lately. Ah, dead snake!
This was the episode's biggest selling point. Seeing Lincoln, arguably the show's main character, dressed like a cross between Viv from The Young Ones and Freakazoid. The Nickelodeon Twitter account advertised the episode by tweeting, "The goth e-boy we didn't even know we needed." And a lot of people called this tweet out as Nickelodeon having a "what's up fellow kids" moment. Nickelodeon removed it not long after. So Lucy gerrymanders her way into the club presidency, alienating herself from the rest of the kids who quit the club. Which is terrible timing because Lucy has already agreed to plan the funeral for the school's mascot, Ricky the Rooster. Without the support of her friends, things do not go to plan.
Finally, he will get to experience the joy of flight.
A trebuchet?
What? Time to go home, sweet prince. Fare thee well.
Lucy realizes she messed up, that her ego got too big, and that she needs to make amends by humbling herself. Leader of the Rack was written by Byron Dawkins, who had worked on Sonia and Craig and Pinky Malinky. This was his first script for The Loud House, and was directed by Jessica Barutsky, who would eventually become the show's supervising producer. 16-year-old Lenny and her 2 friends/co-workers, Miguel and Fiona, are constantly flustered by the demands of Miss Carmichael, their boss at the mall clothing store. When Carmichael has to go to an event, she leaves Lenny in charge, and Lenny starts worrying that this could damage her friendship with the other 2.
I want to do a good job and be a good friend. Is that even possible?
Of course it is. Look, as long as you're getting the work done, you can be as fun a boss as you want.
Wow, Lori, you know absolutely everything!
I literally do.
So Lenny sets out making her one day as manager the most fun day for her coworkers imaginable. Games, good vibes, and finally an extended lunch, giving Miguel and Fiona a chance to check out the mall's new dim sum place. However, Lenny forgot that today was Senior's Day. 36 55 and up-year-olds swarm the store like zombies.
Help! I'm trapped in this hat!
Tonya, no! We can fix you!
Missy, stop playing with that mannequin! I needed this wrapped yesterday!
Coming!
Don't forget my gift cards! I was here first!
On my way!
Lenny clearly needs help, but she's worried that if she calls her friends in from their lunch early, it'll ruin their friendship. But thankfully, Miguel and Fiona are more than understanding. Both of these shorts are pretty fun by themselves. A Grave Mistake has a lot of gags and a great spooky style evocative of Edward Gorey, and Leader of the Rack is a classic tale of retail woes that I know very, very well. So many Black Fridays. I can still hear the screams. But put these shorts together, and you have an interesting examination of the balance between friendship and responsibility, and how it's tricky to balance them. Basically, Lucy and Lenny go in opposite directions from each other. Lucy puts being president of the Morticians Club over her relationships. Chaos ensues. Lenny puts her friendship over what's practical as the manager of the store. Chaos ensues. Children's television usually works in absolutes. For a younger audience, it's easier to take a concrete, inarguable idea and present it without nuance. Lying is bad. It's nice to share. Don't be a bully. And many of those shows do that kind of thing very well. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad approach by default, but rarely do you see a children's show include a simple narrative and then follow it up with a complete counter-narrative in the same episode. A Grave Mistake and Leader of the Rack contrast, but don't contradict, instead suggesting that there is a middle ground between the two extremes of taking my position of power so seriously as to push away my friends, and being there for my friends to the point where my responsibilities collapse under its own weight from neglect is bad.
It's obvious I'm not the amazing president I thought I'd be, and I'm sorry I made Lincoln join the club. It was a cheap trick. But honestly, the worst part is, Ricky deserved a better goodbye than this. Sniff.
I was a total drillster like Miss C and made you come back to help when I was supposed to be the funager. Aw.
Lenny, it was the senior shopaganza. Of course you had to ask us to come back.
I don't know if this was by design, or if the people behind the scenes realized they had two complementary scripts that would go great together, or if they never realized it at all and this was just a happy accident. Regardless of its origins, this kind of segment synergy is rare in cartoons. You don't see this in Rugrats or Hey Arnold or The Mighty Bee, and that's fine. I'm not saying that everyone has to do it to be a good show, but its rarity makes it stand out when it does happen, and the episode excels for it. And that's interesting to say, because I don't think anyone considers this an all-timer. In fact, I've seen some pretty negative reviews online, especially against A Grave Mistake. I've seen people say that building a plot around a pet death is insensitive. It's not. Or that it was a character assassination for Lucy, when we wouldn't have had a story if she didn't mess up. Or that Lincoln catering the funeral chicken nuggets was stupid of him.
Lincoln, what happened? I told you explicitly to get popcorn, Ricky's favorite.
The microwave in the teacher's lounge was on the fritz, so I got these instead.
And it didn't occur to you that serving chicken at a rooster's funeral might be inappropriate?
Okay, now I see it.
Most of the observations I found were from, well, children who are trying to figure out how to be critics, so I'm not going to post links or anything. I'll just say that in 10 years, when the Loud House enters the nostalgia cycle, I think A Grave Mistake will get a pretty substantial reappraisal, if TikTok hasn't completely destroyed Gen Z's brains by then. I loved this episode, and you might too. Heck, you just might love the rest of the Loud House. But that's a discussion for another day. This was just a sample.